college as a college freshman is very, very hard, whether COVID is present or not. The three things that my group and I have found to be very impactful on our social environment have been our family, our friends, and our mental health. These are the three things that we have wrote about in our journal multiple times, and things that we hold dear to ourselves.
I believe that family is one of the most influential parts of my social environment. One story that I have is on Halloween, I'm out here, by myself at my aunt's house, and my dad's girlfriend decided to come down here from North Carolina and bring her son and drive 4 hours to come see me and one of my other cousins that's out here in Gatlinburg. And we got to go and ride a few roller coasters and check out costumes and other things like that. And that just helped me out so much. It made me feel a lot better. It made me feel very appreciated. I missed them very much. And it definitely boosted my spirits. I was going through a little drought, and I got to, get back up. And it just made me feel a lot better. I believe her driving down and coming to see me influenced my actions because it made me feel very appreciated. And it was one of those things where it was like, I was kind of starting to take my foot off. The gas a little bit when it comes to the schoolwork. And it was like, she took the time out of her day, her busy schedule, to drive down 4 hours to come see me. You know what I'm saying? The least I could do is try and put forth 100%. In my schoolwork and in my work at all times, and I think it did. It was a positive force I believe it was a positive force in my life because it made me want to try harder, and it made me just want to be a better person. I just appreciated it very much, and it's definitely going to be something that I remember for the rest of my life.
Throughout my time writing my journals, I discovered that my family was very important to me. Considering I was 7 hours away from home, I didn't get to spend much time with them. My family decided to come down and visit me on September 4th, and I ended up spending the whole entire weekend with them. Because of this, it was a positive impact on my social environment because I was able to get out of my dorm room.
Social environment that kept me really up and positive during this uneventful experience was seeing my family. Freshman, being away from home for that long and even being that far caused me to get homesick a lot, which would put me in a lot of down moods. So for my family to be able to come and get me or bring me back home, or for them to just come and visit me, really reassured me and, kept me afloat and just encouraged me to, do better, and better days are coming, and this won't last forever, and you'll be back home soon. One of the many things I wrote about in my journal was on November 14th, when my family and I got up and went downtown to go ride bumper carts and ice skating. It really made me realize how much family is to me and how important they are to me. It also made me realize that they can really, when I'm feeling down, that they are the ones that can bring me back up, and how greatly appreciated I am of them, and they are of me. While going through a pandemic also took a really big toll on my mental health. Before I went, I was very excited to go to CSU. I was ready to move in, decorate my dorm, get out, meet people from all over the world, and make connects and everything. And when I got to CSU, that literally all went down the drain. I just pretty much, honestly, I can say that I really lost myself. I stopped being social. I quit working out. I just always kind of wanted to be by myself. I was very antisocial.
One thing that really kept me afloat down at Tennessee State University by myself was the fact that my grandmother would call me every day. Just to make small conversation, just to see if I was still alive. Sometimes I wouldn't have the best of days, and she called me 2 or 3 times a day, which I didn't really mind because I had no friends. But my grandmother, she kept me going in school, and she always encouraged me and let me know that my education comes first, and I still while I'm dealing with everything, I still have to be a good student. I still have to make sure that I do what I need to get done. Like I said, most days I would be out for the count, laying and wallowing in my depressive thoughts, and she'd call me and she lifted me up, and that made me just feel so much better to know that I still had a person back home who still believed in me and still knew that I can do anything. Another component of this was my dad. My dad would call me and he'd tell me, I'm phenomenal and I can do anything. And this caused a major shift in the way that I viewed myself as a student, myself as a person. This happened around August 30th when the shift happened. After that, I realized that I can't wallow in my self-pity for being in a school that I didn't like. I had to basically man up and get what I need to get done, and I have been doing pretty okay ever since. I'm used to being alone by choice, but to be forced into solitude was something that I wrote that just had a terrible impact on me as a person. I had no friends that decided to come to Tennessee State University. The majority of my friends were back at home, or they were at Southern or Grambling. And this impacted me because I wanted to reach out, but I didn't want to be sad all the time or saying, I miss you. I wanted to reach out to them very badly, but I didn't want to be like a bummer or anything, and I didn't want to hear their experiences and get jealous, which I did a lot. Seeing most of my friends on the internet having fun was just something that made me sad. One of the things that I wrote about on October 16th, my boyfriend and many of my friends that go to the same school, they all had their homecoming, and that made me super sad because we didn't have our homecoming. And just the weekend before that, seeing other schools still do things for their homecoming, my friends just having the time of their lives and meeting new people, it kind of made me sad. It made me sad, and it made me realize just how lonely I am and how I really had no friends at the school I was going to. And like I said, being forced into loneliness and solitude is something completely different, and I went the entire semester without having just friends or just meeting anyone, and that just pushed me away from the school and turned me off from the school. I am a huge mental health advocate, not only for myself but for people surrounding me, and it wasn't until I read my journal that I realized that my mental health had dropped drastically, and it caused me to lose motivation and to just not take care of myself in the way that I needed to. And I noticed that this happened at the beginning of my stay at Tennessee State University, and also at the end. My last week at Tennessee State University was absolutely the worst. I had the worst panic attacks. I felt like I was losing my mind half the time, and over 70% of my journal entries were about how today I had a panic attack, or I feel like I'm losing my mind. Those are the two things that I said the most in my journal. And while that sucked, I also noticed that in the middle, I kind of went through a stage of rebirth, and I didn't want to have just awful mental health the entire time. And I found ways to cope with depression and anxiety and still be successful, because I knew that in the end I did not want to be unsuccessful in my first semester of college, COVID or no COVID.